Tuesday, 18 August 2015 at 10:04 a.m. Would you please rise for prayer offered by Pastor Fayette and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Father, we thank you for allowing us to join together our hearts in prayer now. And Lord, we thank you for everyone that's come here today. I pray, Lord, that we would have your wisdom. Your word tells us if we lack wisdom, let us ask of God, who gives it to all liberally without reproach, and it will be given to us. Lord, I pray for the wisdom be granted not only to those who are going to speak today, but also to the commissioners as they make decisions. Guide their decisions today, Father. Thank you, Lord, for Fayette County. Thank you, Lord, for blessing Fayette County. Lord, you've blessed it beyond our imagination, how we have responded. And Lord, I pray that we continue to see great things take place here. In Jesus' name. And all God's people said, Amen.
Please turn to
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item is proclamations. Is there anyone here in regard to proclamations of Recovery Month of September 2015? Without seeing anybody? Sure. I don't see anybody.
This is Recovery Month, September 2015. September is National Recovery Month, an observance that increases awareness and understanding of mental or substance use disorders. In recognition of Recovery Month, the Fayette County Board of Commissioners acknowledges the following. Whereas behavioral health is an essential part of health and wellness. Whereas prevention works, treatment is effective, and people recover. Whereas because individuals with mental health and substance abuse conditions can recover and live full and successful lives, we encourage those in need to seek treatment. And whereas the stigma that often prevents individuals from seeing appropriate treatment and care can be significantly reduced by a commitment to learning more about mental illness and substance abuse and seeing people for who they are. And whereas we ask citizens of Fayette County join the Voices for Recovery so that all Fayette County residents are visible, vocal, and valuable as we unite to educate, support, mentor, and help others to live fulfilling lives. Whereas the Fayette County Behavioral Health Administration is committed to reducing the impact of mental health and substance use conditions in Fayette County, helping individuals experience long-term recovery. Now, therefore, we, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the laws of Fayette County, Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2015 as National Recovery Month and call upon the people of Fayette County to join the Voices for Recovery, visible, vocal, and valuable. Signed by the county.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. As you can see, we have a large group in attendance this morning, so if you could try to make your comments as brief and as concise as possible, would be very much appreciated.
Okay, just on the agenda under Commissioners, it's line 4. It's regarding the lease with Chevron. Did anyone from the county, in any department of the county, contact the Pennsylvania Bureau of Recreation and Conservation, the Commission of Parks and Conservation Division, to let them know that possible fracking would be going on under the park?
My concern upon reading and hearing about the proposal leasing the property was a provision of law that the county acquired access.
I'm sorry, acquired? I
The
couldn't.
monies that the county used to build the park
Right.
under access.
Okay.
I had sent an email to Mr. Cupp asking him about that. he responded, he's not here this morning, but I believe at the agenda, and you were present, he had cited pardons, I don't remember the statute, but it was under provision of Act 72 that allowed the county to consider this
So, to your knowledge, then nobody contacted. I just noticed when I was at the park and took a photo of the Masontown Sherman Park, it's administered by the Bureau of Rec and Conservation. And when
which is under DCNR.
well, when I spoke to, when I spoke to a gentleman there, Mike Eshelman, he said that the county should have run it past them first, what they're doing, that the director of parks, whoever that would be, should have contacted this department to let them know of this venture, since they're kind of administering the park.
Again, this isn't the first time the county is engaged in a release of this nature. We had done it at Dunlap Creek Park several years ago. I would trust if we were in violation of any provision of regulation of the sub-agency that you just cited, that we would have been informed.
Or maybe they've already contacted somebody.
It's possible.
Yeah. And my second,
speak for my
I'm sorry, second question, do you have a written, how to phrase it, confirmation document? I know it was addressed at the agenda meeting. The $188,000 will go directly back into the three county parks.
I believe,
That's the F-70.
I believe the motion, if I'm correct, indicated that the profit, the revenue, the 15% would go back to the parks. I'm not sure.
About the
Yeah,
188.
that's correct. We haven't discussed that this morning.
And then my last one is, who negotiated the terms of that lease to arrive at the $1,500 an acre?
I think Mr. Stockwood, if I'm saying his name correctly, last Tuesday, had, he's present, perhaps chime in, but he's the one that provided the proposal and cited that this is higher than the regular lease agreement, or at the highest level of the lease agreement.
So you didn't look into it on your own to
Not
see
if
if
there was no negotiations
just
outside of whether or not we're going to two or
put it
three
forward
years.
today. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Is that correct, Mr. Stockwood? Stockman, I'm sorry.
But yes, it is. It was provided directly to the Commissioner as an agenda item. There was no negotiation. It was our proposal.
Thank you.
Good morning, John Kaufman, Fayette County resident. Regarding the lease, when I first read about the lease, I was pretty enthusiastic that Fayette County was going to capitalize some of its natural resources and take those royalties and infuse them back into the economy of Fayette County. We surely need that. However, when you read the lease, this lease is really not oriented toward capitalizing anything anytime soon. This lease is designed to do the exact opposite, and that is to lock up and put in cold storage Fayette County resources for a term of as long as 10 years. Is that not correct, sir?
I believe it's, the agreement is a 5-year agreement.
Well, 5 years with an automatic extension,
That is correct.
correct?
But that is the term, please. Whether or not we get there sooner, obviously it makes a lot of sense for us to develop faster, but it does take time to get all those pieces and parts
Okay,
together.
excuse me, just for, I don't want to get into a
Okay.
Q&A. Mr. Stockman, can you please stand and, for the record, and introduce yourself and address the
So,
question?
Mr. Stockman, my observation is that first 5 years, we are offered $188,000, and that is your only obligation. You are not obligated to develop this lease beyond paying us the bonus money. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's the way leases
We have an option to automatically extend that lease for another 5 years, correct?
That's correct.
And also, for another $188,000, we will do nothing. You are obligated to do nothing for another 5 years. Old math says 10 years. We could easily be sitting on this lease and developing no royalties. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Stockman, very quickly, number one, this is Mr. Stockman, just very quickly, question for you. In Fayette County, the number one gas extractor, if you will, that is Chevron.
It's Chevron, and we have most of this park surrounded. So when we look at what is currently being developed, there are miles of there are legs that take miles of leases. So we are no longer drilling vertical wells. So as a result, we need to put that big grid together. So it does take time.
Is there any addition?
Oh, yes.
Please continue.
Thank you so much. This is what a lease would look like that is favorable to Fayette County. It would be a short duration lease. It would be 5 years, and it would have very specific use it or lose it language. The language would say that this lease is held by production. That's a very important word, correct, Mr. Stockman? Production. I'm sorry, I don't want to get engaged in dialogue.
Yeah, this
Production is the key word, not to be held by operations. Production generates revenues, okay, in the form of royalties, and operations don't produce anything except the promise of future activity. So what we're looking for is a lease that will get that cash back into the economy. So let's talk about the bonus, $188,000. We have 130,000, give or take, residents of Fayette County. So the $188,000 works out to about $1.40 per citizen in the United States.
Mr. Kravitz, in all due respect.
No, with all due respect,
please, sir.
you guys,
Please, I'm gonna have to-
excuse me.
sir.
Excuse me. No, you're not going to do this.
Sir, listen,
I'm
I'm
here-
not gonna let you go on a long.
I know, because the
diatribe
truth is your worst
about
enemy,
lease
Mr.
agreement. Provide
Zapatowski.
me with a copy of it. I'd be more than delighted to review it.
You've had a copy, and you obviously, when we have time to look at
Again, I
all
will
the
give you, we have a large contingent of folks that would also like to potentially express themselves. Please be brief and concise, as I stated before the meeting.
brief
Thank
and
you, sir.
concise. Here's brief and concise.
Thank you, sir.
$188,000 equates to $1.44 per person over a 5-year time period. Every individual gets about 37 cents. Okay, that's what your bonus money pays you. Errors of omission. Why is the Mother Hubbard language still? You're familiar with that, right, Mr. Amazoni, the Mother Hubbard language?
No.
Oh, did you negotiate the lease?
We're looking at a proposal.
My question to you, sir-
Nobody negotiated the lease.
Well, this is obvious that nobody negotiated. This is a rubber stamp giveaway. This is a rubber stamp giveaway. Why is there no vertical severance or separation clause? According to this, even though we want to drill the Marcellus, correct? According to this lease, you folks can drill to the center of the earth. You have no obligation to do the Marcellus. You can go beyond the Marcellus. You can go less than the Marcellus. There is no language that protects the citizens here. That's the problem. So, since we're talking about something that we're going to be encumbered with for the next 10 years, this lease is not ready for prime time. If you didn't negotiate the lease, I would suggest to you gentlemen that you take a minute, sit down with a knowledgeable gas and oil attorney, and maybe he can point you in the right direction. But this agreement as it stands does not serve the best interest of Fayette County. I'm all for developing the resource. I'm not all for waiting 10 years. Okay, it doesn't make sense from our perspective. So, in conclusion, please take a look, do your homework, right?
We already have, John.
Well, I don't, how can,
We already had.
okay,
County solicitor
important question.
reviewed this contract. We already had, his,
Important question.
This is a standard contract that we've
Al,
already done before.
Al, the lease is to be negotiated. Important question. Now,
Not if
could-
there's no upside.
here's
We've already
the
spent-
question
we've
to you.
already spent months and months negotiating previous leases. This is a standard lease. Why should we waste the time? Why should we not?
We're not wasting time. We were talking about,
We don't have, I have to stop. We don't have another lease that's like this. Okay. What they're referring to is the Dunlap Street Apartment lease, which is totally different.
okay, last question, then I'm done. Royalty payments. According to this lease, it says, we agree, we being Fayette County, agree to pay from the proceeds of the royalties any pro rata share of any taxes, charges, and fees imposed by any government body on the leased substances. So the obvious question is, as you know, when we drill, okay, we get an impact fee, right? $50,000 from each, as the drill bit touches the ground, that sets in motion the impact fee process. First year, 50 grand. By the time the 15-year term is up, the last year is $5,000. So, are we obligated by this lease to pay our own impact fee? Are we paying our impact fee out of our royalties, Mr. Ramsey? Because that's what the language says. How irrational is that? You've done your homework? I don't think you have. So thank you very much. Time to take another look.
Well, I wasn't at the agenda meeting, and I understand the form went out the window. But when did you hold a meeting to discuss the fact that you were going to drill? You have a contract already, but I don't recall a meeting where anything was discussed. So as far as I'm concerned, and I believe you broke the sunshine law, and this is an illegal contract. Because there was no public discussion about this drill.
Let's, if you want to hear the chronology of what exactly happened, Mr. Gallo provided a lot of the communications, so he can ensure state chronology of what happened, so hopefully you're satisfied. Because I know, I'm a little bit tired of hearing, these accusations made, no backup information. So
What do you mean no backup? Was this contract negotiated behind closed doors? Or did you hold an open meeting to discuss this with the public? And did you not break the sunshine law by doing this behind closed doors?
Absolutely.
You did.
Absolutely.
County business does not have to be done in public. Is that what you're telling me?
Mrs. Mazza, I can tell you that not discuss or deliberate. I simply met the gentleman that was presenting the proposition to the county. It was a brief 5-minute discussion. Furthermore, there is case law that allows, articulates very directly that commissioners are allowed to engage in discussion, ideas, suggestions, however, are not allowed to deliberate. And I don't want to bring up that case, but it was decided by a federal district magistrate, subsequently supported by the Third Circuit of Western District.
But you have a contract and nobody heard anything about it. Chevron is here. I'd like to ask you gentlemen a question.
Again, that's it.
No, you let other
Mrs.
people
Mazza,
ask
please,
them
ask the
questions.
question to the board, and I'll direct Mr. Stock.
I'll ask Chevron, please.
If they're
How
inclined
much
to answer-
money
if
did
they're inclined to
Chevron
answer-
contribute to Mr. Ambrosini's campaign?
You don't have to answer that. It's up to you all whether you want to answer the question or not. If you're directed to you, I'm going to allow you guys to answer the question if you choose to. I mean, it's not germane to the substance of this meeting. I will advise you.
You have not contributed to his campaign?
This is not an appropriate forum. There are ways that Chevron can contribute to candidates through a PAC, AC, and political action committees. We have by no means been involved with any type of those activities.
So you give me a lot of double talk. Because Mr. Ambrosini reports on his financial committee that you gave, his financial statement, that you gave him $500. How much more did you give him? Did you funnel any money through his family or Mr. Zabatoski's family? What all did you give them?
You that I have not been funneled anything outside of a funnel cake in a recent festival. Please, let's move on.
Did you
Mrs. Mazza,
give
do have
him-
any additional questions
Did you give
to
him
the
any
board?
other compensation?
Mrs.
Did you
Mazza,
give him any other compensation
Again,
in
Mrs.
forms
Mazza,
of
please direct your
items
questions to the
or
board.
you can listen?
I
You can
can't,
listen.
you're projecting your, please direct them to the board.
Well,
Again, I'm gonna read.
Did you give them any other
Mrs.
form
Mazza,
of
please direct your-
compensation
I'm
for
gonna make a
this
motion to
contract?
recess the meeting until call to order. If there's a second to the motion, let's make the motion. Mrs. Mazza, we must continue with the business at hand.
And
have a
I
question,
need, we
direct
must
the
get
question
my
to the board.
answers to my
Then
questions.
direct them to us, ma'am. Please, direct them to the board, please.
I can't ask a question of Chevron by addressing the question to
Ma'am, this is
you.
a commissioners meeting, not a Chevron meeting.
I understand that, but you're trying to sell the county down the river with
No,
a
ma'am. By
contract.
no means are we trying to sell anybody down anything.
Will you gentlemen please answer my question? Have you given them any other form of compensation, even lunch? Did you buy them lunch one day?
Thank you, gentlemen, for answering the question. Mrs. Mazza, do you have any additional questions?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Just how legal is this contract?
Legals are solicitor's.
He's incompetent. He's incompetent.
If there's any challenges, of course, that would be at the discretion of the court.
Well, you know what, Vince? I would have thought better of you. I really would have. The other one, no. But you, I would have thought you would like to go out on a good note. But
I'd
obviously,
like to think this is a
you-
good step.
you-
Listen, I grew up in that community. I've done a lot of activity at that park. If I thought there was any harm to people of that area or to the facility, I would not even engage in such a discussion. But again, as Mr. Stockman had alluded to, there were lease agreements surrounding the property. This is a project that is economic in nature as well as a fiscal, some may disagree, but a benefit to organizations or projects that would otherwise be handcuffed for funding. So that's part of my rationale.
so you're saying you didn't get anything from Chevron?
No, ma'am. I know Mr. Robinson from my coaching days in the Alpharetta Area School District. That's how I know that young man. Outside of maybe having his friends run laps, I don't know him. And I don't know any of these gentlemen.
Well, you know, it's just a shame that you guys don't care anything about the county or the people in the county. It's really a shame. And
I'm sure you would do, Mrs. Mazza. I trust that Chevron does as well as any other company that does business in Fayette County.
Vince, how can you sit there and say that when you do the things that you do? Your actions You may say you care about the county and the people, but your actions doesn't promote that.
Mr. Meza,
It
as
just
was
does
said
promotes
earlier,
the
we
opposite.
engaged in a project with the gas industry at Dunlap Creek Park. Early in my first term, we had RFP for, we solicited for potential drillers for the Mill Run area, which we got we did not get a response back on 2 RFPs. So the county has clearly indicated that it acknowledges the gas industry and wants to be a partner directly and in this case directly or indirectly. So I don't think there's anything below board. We're discussing this as we did last Tuesday at a public meeting. This is the second public meeting. All 3 commissioners voted to advance this. Whether or not there's going to be 2 or 3 votes in support of this remains to be seen. But I do appreciate your comment. Is there any additional, do you have any additional comment for Mr. Rosenberg? Waiting patiently.
You mentioned Dunlap Creek. I understand Chevron still owes for that. Did they ever pay that? Weren't they supposed to pay a certain amount for Dunlap Creek? And I think it came up at the agenda meeting that they hadn't paid that obligation yet. It was a gift. A gift. It was a gift they promised for Dunlap Creek.
I don't recall. That was the first prior administration that passed that. It was like $19.
$50,000 that they offered as a donation for Dunlap Creek, and as yet the money has not been forthcoming.
You're talking about the restrooms that they offered to assist.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different subject itself.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a year old?
That's a charitable contribution.
Right.
Want to assist in the construction of desperately handicapped accessible restrooms. I mean, I thank them for their desire to assist with that project.
Yeah, but it's easy to say I'm going to give you money to fix the restrooms and then not give it to you. What good is a promise if you don't keep your promise? And if they don't keep that promise, who's to say they'll keep anything else? And I agree with Mr. Pacha. Why wait 10 years?
We stated earlier that they all the lease agreements around them.
Well, I still
So
say,
unless you want direct drilling, or not allow the horizontal side, please, if you'd like to object, Mr. Robinson.
I would just like to follow up. We did, working with the Capella and the Commissioner's Office with the for the restrooms, we've offered a donation of $50,000. We said the restrooms, each restroom that the county is trying to get is around $41,000 a piece. You need 4 of them. So there are an effort. They're looking to get grant monies. So we assure that money is benchmarked. In fact, I talked with Mr. Capella last week. We're going to begin that process of getting that check payment. So as these other funds that are received that the county is requesting, once they get those funds, then we're going to start this project. So that has been committed, and we're not going to back away from that. That's something we committed to earlier this spring. So we stand behind it 100%, and we look forward to that project. In fact, we want to offer our volunteers from our company to go out there and help the maintenance department in the future, maybe work something out as well on those particular projects, because it's very important to the county.
thank you. I have one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
When you met with Chevron over this contract, how many commissioners were present?
There's no meeting in regard to the contract. Mr. Ricky stopped in the office, shook his hand, told us about the proposal, forwarded to it via email. I had asked Mr. Cupp about Act 70 and discussion on it. Mr. Gallo had emailed the proposal, I believe, to all 3 commissioners on August.
That was immediately after they came to the meeting. It wasn't a set meeting. Mr. McCuty just stopped in to make sure it was on the agenda to see if there were any issues, to try to meet with the commissioners. As it happened, Commissioner Ambrosini, Commissioner Zapatowski were in the office. Commissioner Zumbrich wasn't. You know,
There were only two present.
I was there the whole time. It was just a handshake, see if you go on the agenda, see if they needed anything. It was already, they already had sent their presentation over at that
You
point.
mean they just showed up at the courthouse and said, we want to talk to the commission?
Yes,
And nobody, and did you contact all three commissioners and tell them Chevron's here, they want to talk to the commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Galloway.
I answered that. It came in that Commissioners Ambrosini, Zapatowski were present. Commissioner Zumbrich wasn't.
Good morning, sir. Would you please state your name for the record? James Rosenberg, Redstone Township. First, I seriously question whether agreeing an oil and gas lease for a park by the county is even in order, given that Fayette County is out of compliance with the law in failing to review its comprehensive plan in a timely fashion. As the commissioners are certainly aware, the municipality's planning code requires review of the comprehensive plan every 10 years. Fayette County's plan dates to 2000. Thus, we have been out of compliance for more than 4 years, and there is no legally valid comprehensive plan with which to compare this proposed lease. The county has had 4 years to accomplish this and has not done the job, but meanwhile proposes to rush through a gas lease for a county park today. That is simply preposterous. Any motion to sign a gas lease must be tabled until the comprehensive plan is properly reviewed. Second, as a citizen of Fayette County, I'm extremely concerned that appropriate due diligence regarding this proposal has not occurred. Let's begin with Chevron's record. Surely everyone is aware of the tragic accident at the Lanco 7H well in Greene County. That well exploded and took one life. The explosion was due to preventable human error. In Fayette County, we have been lucky to have avoided a similar tragedy, but the record of close calls needs more scrutiny. The inspection reports of DEP for Fayette County wells are full of disturbing anomalies. Details and documentation are contained in my written testimony, which is mostly excerpts from DEP inspection reports. Specifically, Shepherd Unit 6H, Redstone Township, underground explosion. Nearby residents heard and felt an explosion. DEP inspection reporting notes that this well had the casing perforated approximately 2,000 feet above the producing interval. How else does this happen but an explosion? When was this explosion investigated? What assurance do we have that it won't happen again? What notification was Fayette County Emergency Management given about this incident? Concerning emergency management, my written comment includes, as Appendix F, page 12 from the emergency response plan for a recent Chevron Fayette County well pad, Stewart Well Site, Luzerne Township. I direct the commissioner's attention to the order in which emergency steps are to be taken. Notification to County 911 for a level 2 or level 3 incident occurs just about last. Note in particular, Chevron management is to be notified before County 911. So Chevron wants to go first when drilling our park, but expects us to go last to be notified of an emergency. Why should we agree to this? KICTA, Unit 4H, North Union Township, horizontal fail due to unanticipated geological fault. Really? With all of its vaunted capability of microseismic data sensing, Chevron was unaware till it happened that its horizontal was headed straight for a fault? What other underground hazards is it unaware of? Is it just coincidence that just next door to the Kitka well site is a still burning underground mine fire? Sickle 1H, Washington Township, Ritter Unit 4H, San Filippo well sites, Redstone Township, cementing problems. Cementing flaws can introduce a pathway into the environment for both water contamination and methane migration. The plurality opinion by the PA Supreme Court that struck down zoning provisions of Act 13, Robinson, established in clear terms that Article 1, Section 27 of the Constitution of Pennsylvania establishes an affirmative duty of Fayette County to act as trustee of its citizens' right to clean air and pure water. While the county may not play a role in regulating drilling, surely the county owes it to its citizens to determine what we can expect from Chevron when signing away drilling rights for what should be an island of peace and serenity in a troubled world. The lease may contain a no surface disturbance rider, but that will not protect visitors to the park from air pollution. Now let's consider whether due diligence has been performed on the actual terms of the lease. Presence in the memorandum of lease of two clauses beginning remove next sentence F suggests that this is a virgin boilerplate lease that has been subject to no negotiation whatever. Adoption of this lease without further scrutiny would be inexcusable. As examples, as John Kofchin mentioned, the lease is for all strata. That means all strata down to the center of the earth, not just Marcellus and layers above. In addition, Utica below the Marcellus, and who knows what layers thousands of feet below that. What technologies will be required to extract oil and gas from all those thousands of feet below Utica? What kind of environmental disruption will that cause? What did the Dogbone 3D seismic study tell Chevron about what's down there? Why on earth would the county give Chevron what amounts to a blank check to use completely unknown technologies to extract oil and gas from all strata? There are hundreds of stories of people who signed an all strata lease thinking that the impact would be similar to shallow wells and were then shocked at the industrialization of the neighborhood that inevitably comes with Marcellus drilling and fracking. Why should we make the same mistake for the deeper layers underneath Utica? There is no stipulation that Chevron adhere to its own best practices, such as they are. Chevron is a founding member of an organization with the profoundly misleading name Center for Sustainable Shale Development, whose purpose is to formulate best practices and provide a certification process to demonstrate compliance. Notwithstanding the deeply flawed nature of this undertaking, where is the stipulation in the lease that Chevron adhere to CSSD standards? Why should the county agree to a lease that does not adhere to these standards? Post-production costs will be deducted. This is a loophole big enough to drive a frac truck through. Post-production costs explicitly include midstream costs for gathering, dehydration, compression, and delivery to the nearest transmission line. There is no cap in the lease for how high these charges can be. Where is the protection for the county against a sweetheart deal between Chevron and its midstream company to inflate these costs? No indemnification of the county against litigation for environmental harm or nuisance. An oil and gas lease will establish a joint venture between the county and Chevron. There are increasingly many lawsuits being filed against oil and gas drillers for nuisance and medical and environmental harm. These lawsuits are increasingly naming lessors as defendants. While the terms of the lease would ostensibly exempt the county from paying capital costs for construction, drilling, and fracking, there is no language whatever that would require Chevron to indemnify the county against any judgment against a well site for nuisance or environmental harm. Has the county evaluated the risk of this, or what the cost in the worst case might be? All that is part of what due diligence means. To put it bluntly, even if you are pro-fracking, this lease is a bad deal. I urge the commissioners to turn down this proposal as drafted and to insist that any future proposed lease be subject to a proper due diligence that considers the perspective of all citizens of Fayette County, including proper public input. This proposal must be tabled. Thank you for your attention.
And Al didn't even look at it.
Reminder, this is public comment.
Didn't even look at it.
Sure. Stephanie Novak, Melcroft. and I'm the community organizer for Mountain Watershed Association. We're home to the Youghiogheny River Keeper. Through our Marcellus Citizen Stewardship Project, we work with residents who have concerns over gas development in their neighborhoods and communities. And we were also contacted by residents in Fayette County who are concerned over the Masontown parks, the leasing park. So after our review, we've determined that we do need to submit comment on this issue. And I'm just going to also repeat the same thing about the Sunshine Act in Section 704. Requires that all official actions and deliberations by a form of the members of an agency shall take place at a meeting open to the public. And so as a result, we just really feel compelled to urge you to have transparency during this process and ask that the board disclose all deliberations and discussions which that happen with Chevron before any vote takes place. Yes. And our second concern is over the board's obligation to consider the environmental effects of any proposed action as required by the Environmental Rights Amendment. So there is no indication that this has been done by the board yet. There's no mention of environmental studies, and also residents have the right to question how this project will impact their community. They deserve to have the right to ask if their communities are going to be affected by noise or air pollution. And as a few people before me also mentioned, there are issues with the lease itself. And other than not allowing surface operations, there are no other environmental protections built into the lease at all. And of course, by pointing out these concerns, we are in no way advocating for the leasing of the parks, nor suggesting that any lease could really be written in a way that protects the environmental rights. So in section 1.1 of the lease, why are you leasing all strata, like Jim said here before me, rather than negotiating those stratas one by one? In section 2.1 of the lease, Chevron's ability to extend the second term of the lease is incredibly broad and very favorable to Chevron. Section 2.3 allows Chevron to take post-production costs out of the royalties. And again, like Jim mentioned, that has been an issue for lessors throughout the state. And these are just naming a couple of the issues that we found with the lease, which really just highlights the fact that Fayette County should not be voting on the lease until it conducts a proper and transparent review of the environmental impacts of leasing the park and the negotiations surrounding this lease. Even with such a review, if you were to do that, we would still argue that Fayette County is premature in considering the leasing of the parks, as its comprehensive plan is years out of date, and its zoning ordinance was written well before unconventional drilling was prevalent here in PA. So taking such a serious step as leasing the park would really be without any consideration of an up-to-date plan for development in Fayette County.
Chris Kelly from Masontown. I'm here to address the police officer. My only real concern is that we have a 4th of July celebration in the park, and we set off fireworks in the park. I'm no chemist, but I think natural gas and fireworks are a good combination. I would be concerned if there was anything above ground that could cause a hazard. Other than that, if we expect to be self-sufficient in this country, energy-wise, we have to start thinking about making our own energy. We had the Rubino explosion, and they didn't shut down all the mines. Things happen. I mean, they have to be as careful as they can. But I don't believe in inviting trouble either. So if it could be kept to the point where we could still have fireworks without having any danger to the residents. Also, is there a time limit for speaking?
No. Because of the large crowd.
I mean, each person doesn't have a
We
time.
set a time limit, however.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you.
Jonathan Jones of Uniontown. Before I get on a couple of questions, first, I'd like to verify that each of the commissioners received the information regarding the violation that the Department of Environmental Protection has cited against Chevron in the county. Is this the same lease that was presented in the agenda last week? Were there any changes made since last week? Anything added, anything taken out? So it's the same document.
Mr. Stockley,
Yeah, I think
if you'd like to address that change,
I think
please.
Commissioner Ambrosini said he was more aware of it. I don't know if Commissioner Ambrosini said there is an addendum to the lease that you received. You saw the addendum and it's attached to the lease. It's attached to the lease.
Based on.
This is
One second,
not-
please. Mr. Zimmerman, please.
The question was, everyone is saying pose the questions to the commissioners. So I'm talking, so that's. Thank you. Mr. Jones answered the question. Just recently, after the Tuesday agenda meeting, I would say about 2 days ago, Chevron did send the 3 commissioners an addendum, which is different from the addendum that you saw. So that's one, if you have questions on it, and obviously you can't have questions unless you say that. So I don't know if you have extra copies or if you just read it into the record, or you can ask Mr. Stockton.
This is a copy of this week's agenda.
It's not, no. The latest addendum is not attached to the document.
Mr.
We
Stockley,
just got it ourselves.
would you please elaborate on the
Public comment last week, we went ahead and we made a change to make the non-disturbance language more strict so that it would be more transparent, that there would be nothing going on the surface of this lease. So it now reads, lessee agrees it will not conduct any surface operations on the surface of the lease premises. For purposes of this provision only, surface operations include anything from surface to surface, use, or activity, including the construction or use of roads, pipelines, or well sites. This provision does not preclude lessee from conducting activities under the surface of the lease premises, including horizontal dwelling construction. So we went ahead and made it as clear as we possibly could that there was absolutely no activity on the surface of the lease, because that was the question at the last meeting.
So this is the official up-to-date version of the agenda. For the record, Commissioner Zimmerman, could you please review the email that you received from Mr. Geller that informs you that this lease is being proposed as business?
We can't hear.
We can't hear you.
For the record, could you please review the email that Mr. Geller sent to you that informs you that this lease is being proposed in the first place?
Excuse me, I don't have the email with me, but I can tell you that it was, at 5:11, it was not retrieved the next morning. Gina Garland had sent a representative from Chevron, stopped in the office today, was forced to meet with Vince and Al, to review, and he attached a lease agreement and said he was sent it to
So the completed document with the return
The
any
lease.
exit clauses, everything was already pre-prepared and was attached to the email that you received.
It's either attached to it or a separate email with Gina sending it to John copying the rest of the sheets.
So, purposes since your name came up, clarify that you were the author of the email or emails. The date was August 4th, correct?
The following,
The proposal was submitted and any time to review or pose any questions to the other commissioners or the gas company was assembly.
based on July emails we got from the last time, discussions about the lease, and you brought up that 70, that we probably couldn't do it anyhow. There was no feeling that it was going to go any further until it got clarified by the cop. And then they came in for the agenda meeting. Rick stalked in to see if in fact he could talk to you guys to make sure it was on the agenda and would be placed on the agenda. So that was the extent of it. And again, when he came, you guys were there. Someone was. So I person forwarded you. In fact, the request, forwarded everything that we had at that point. Angela, because then it looked like they resolved the issue with Act 70, that, you know, was going to move forward. Additionally, Vince, you and Al sent me to the Masontown Borough Building to make it known that you guys were attending this, that was on the agenda, and had me call everyone on the Masontown, I guess it's a recreational board there that they have. I called all the people before the agenda.
John, I don't know what this is all about, other than I really don't know why he's asking those questions. It's very clear. The documents speak for itself. I'm not saying that I wasn't informed. August 4th is when I was informed, very clearly. Joanne Cobb also sent me an email on about August 4th, August 5th, saying that he reviewed the lease that Tina gave to him, and that he believes that it is a standard language. Okay? Your question was, when did you asked me about the email, right? That was very simply August the 4th, 5/11, when Gina said that the Chevron individuals met with them. Okay? And when the next day or the day after, when John forwarded back his comment that the lease appears to be in order, obviously you had to see the lease in order to comment on it, which would have been when Jan told me on August 4th that he sent it. So he sent it to John Tuck and me at the same time. Now, anything prior to that, I was unaware of, as evidenced by the July emails, all of what he's referring to. Those conversations, as evidenced by the document between them, Kathy, Gino, and the Chevron. Project 7 years. I'm not complaining about that. I've been complaining it for years. I'm not going to complain anymore. I got it on August 4th. That was your question.
You say Act 70 as the authority for, as giving you the authority to move this lease forward, and you're
John, excuse me, John. Act 70 was Act 72, and then he stated, I can't remember what the statute would say, allowed us to proceed.
John Tuck gave you that statute.
that's what I'm looking at. So we have the statute that you're actually referring to. Then it's Title 72, Pennsylvania Statute, Section 3946.20, subsection B. Yes, that act does give you the authority to do exactly what you're planning to do, but it does not give you the authority to do it without following the proper procedures laid out by the Sunshine Act of Pennsylvania. Before I go into the Sunshine Act, there are a few definitions that it lays out that I need to clarify for the record.
Again, if this is a alleged sunshine violation, I invite whoever is alleging it to file a complaint with the county law of Pennsylvania and allow them to determine whether or not the act was violated. I'm not going to sit here and allow frivolous allegations.
I'm not accusing of anything. I have the act in front of
Frivolous
me.
allegations that have no substance whatsoever outside of political gain for the month of November. Bottom line is, if you believe the Sunshine Act was followed, fill out the complaint as the late Joe Ferens would have said if he was here. I'm not going to tolerate any allegation that an act was violated when in fact there was no said such violation.
The Sunshine Act was violated. I can prove it.
Well, file the complaint and let the Commonwealth approve it.
Do I have the opportunity to prove my case?
Go ahead and talk, John.
It's not
Just
an
do
agenda item. It has no relevance to this meeting. If you want to talk about gas, talk about gas.
It does.
The
definitions,
sunshine law.
You're out of order. John, you have the floor. Please continue, sir.
the definitions that I need to cover as laid out by the Sunshine Act refer to administrative action, agency business, deliberation, what a meeting consists of, and what official action consists of. Administrative action is the execution of policies relating to persons or things as previously authorized or required by official action of the agency, adopted at an open meeting of the agency, but does not include deliberation. Agency business is the framing, preparation, making, or enacting of laws, policies, regulations, creation of liability by contract or otherwise, or adjudication of rights, duties, or responsibilities, not including administrative action. Deliberation is the discussion of agency business held for the purpose of making a decision. A meeting is any gathering of an agency which is attended or participated in by a quorum of the members of an agency held for the purpose of deliberating agency business or taking official action. Official action is defined as recommendations made by an agency pursuant to statute, ordinance, or executive order, the establishment of policy by an agency, decisions on an agency business made by an agency, or any vote taken by an agency on any motion, proposal, resolution, rule, regulation, ordinance, report, or order. Now, it goes forward and says,
Excuse me, I'm getting indication from the members here that they cannot hear you. There's two reasons for that. One is you need to speak up a little louder, please. And the other is what have the conversations in between.
Thank you. With those definitions in mind, open meetings are referred to as meetings in which official actions and deliberations by a quorum of the members of an agency that shall take place at a meeting open to the public unless closed under section 707, 708, or 712. And those exceptions include executive sessions, which may be held during an open meeting, at the conclusion of an open meeting, or at a future time announced at an open meeting. At a conference at which an agency is authorized to participate in a conference which need not be open to the public, but deliberation cannot occur at the conference, and for certain working sessions in which boards of auditors may examine, analyze, discuss, and deliberate various pertinent accounts and records under that board's purviews, and official action also may not be taken at this certain working session. Section 712 refers directly to.
I don't
Section 710.1 refers to public participation in meetings, in which the board or a council of a political subdivision shall provide a reasonable opportunity at each advertised regular meeting and advertised special meeting for residents to comment on matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before the board prior to taking official action. Option to accept all public comment is at the beginning of the meeting, and given insufficient time, may be awarded at the next regular or scheduled special meeting. Given that the completed lease was presented before any public meetings were held, that states that business was conducted and terms were agreed upon prior to a proposal being presented to the meeting. That, in and of itself, is a violation of the Sunshine Act because it was not held at the public open meeting.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Any additional public comment, ma'am?
I'm there.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Morrell. I'm Mrs. Lorraine. Good morning, commissioners. And finally, nice to speak to you because you and I have spoken on the phone and you were very courteous when you returned my calls. My situation is nothing to do with the project. My situation has to do with the facts. Okay. Now, protocol, the original protocol, I don't know if they changed or whatever, but when you go to Pittsburgh, the day before, the driver of that bus is to call you, make sure you're still going, okay? And the bus is supposed to be en route by 7:15. And actually, the reason I'm here is because of the ineffective operations or the organization of how this fact situation is just out of control. So I'm just going to read the letter. All of what I have to say is written in letter form.
Is this on the agenda?
I called and somebody told me I could just come.
Ma'am, it's not an agenda item specifically, but based on the fact that clearly you're not able to sit through what looks to be a very lengthy meeting. Without objection from my colleagues, a lot of opportunities. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, I didn't know, because somebody told me, I actually called, and someone said I had to sign up, and then I talked to the other lady, and she said, come down. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move fast. Okay, on April 8th, I was picked up at 8:15, which was already over an hour late, to get to McGee Hospital in Pittsburgh. Okay, I have already said this. Protocol, as I have been used to for many years, has been a confirmation call was made at the night before, and to be on the road by 7:15. And that protocol just didn't happen. So I was picked up at 8:15, and by this time, as I was getting on the bus, I was the seventh person. There was already 6 people on the bus, and I'll make the 7th. So while we're en route, when we're in Fayette County, we're going all over the place. Uniontown, Masontown, Public, Connersville, License, you name it. We're all over the place, picking all these different people up, going all over the place in another county, in Allegheny, all over the place, different hospitals.
I mean, is this a share ride or is this a shared ride program?
This is, I'm just saying.
It's just a share
I don't know. I'm just writing I'm just addressing this. Okay. The bus, by the time everybody was picked up, the bus was filled to capacity. There was 10 people on that bus. It was actually overloaded. And that should never happen. I mean, like, never ever happen again. And I'm speaking on somebody else right now. I don't even, that's not even on there. There was 2 women in a wheelchair, which is okay because you're allowed that. But one of them had an artificial heart thing, battery, whatever, and she had already, this on coming home, she had already went through 2 of them. She was on her 3rd one, which she had like 45 minutes left, for her equipment before it may have expired for her to get her air or whatever. So anyway, while we were en route in my appointment, I called the hospital and notified them that I was going to be late. I was on the back bus and I was running late. I even called them to tell them exactly where I was at, so they would probably, because they were from Pittsburgh, I didn't know, how much time it would be to get there. So when I get there, when I finally reached my destination, I was an hour and 5 minutes late for my appointment, and I was told that I had to reschedule. And I was so upset. It literally just made me sick. And I mean, it just literally, I just cried. I had a headache, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so that ride was a complete waste of time for me and other women. One mother, her son had a neurological issue due to some kind of an accident that he had. So he had to go to UPMC. Okay, and his appointment to me was a bowl. My appointment was a bowl of cherries compared to his. His was neurological, and he had to be rescheduled. Okay, so then after I left my home at 8:30, and arriving an hour and 5 minutes late at my designated area. Long story short, we was all over Fayette County. How can you pick up 10 people from all over the county and take them to another county in Allegheny, in Pittsburgh, and expect each person to get their appointment on time? Okay. Okay. So I'm trying to get through this thing real quick. I was okay. The matter for that. So another, okay, I'm on this situation. On this particular day, April 8th, 2015, This bus, after we got started and we was on the bus, we was already an hour late. And the bus was filled with 10 people expected to be at their appointments at designated times. And two of us, myself and some other woman, had to reschedule, and it was not our fault. So, not only was I had to reschedule for this appointment that I was an hour and 5 minutes late for, it wasn't my fault. I was, you know how Gilligan's Island had the 3 hour tour? I was on that bus for 11 hours. 11 hours. I got my home, it was 6:59. That to me should never happen again. I mean, a lot of people depend on fact, and I'm one of them. And thank God that I do have some friends that have been taking me, because it literally it can literally really mess with somebody. Seriously, the way the operations, they call themselves having a new way of doing things and operations and everything. It's not. It's still a hot mess. It really is. And I'm gonna say it. I'm bound. Okay. May 6th. Okay, now I'm going to jump on to June. June of this year, I had a 10:30 appointment to see a doctor that's only there on Tuesdays. My appointment was at 10:30. He didn't get there until almost 12, and I'm like, at this point, this man is only in on Tuesdays, and am I going to miss my appointment? For a whole month. So when I got there, when he finally got there, then he was en route getting ready to go pick up other people after being there, after me already being an hour and a half late. I was going to continue to be even more late. So the driver did get on the bus and ask the dispatch, because I was highly upset. I will agree with that. He got on the phone, and the dispatch did allow him to get me up there, because it was just ridiculous. The fact bus is really out of order. Somebody really needs to do something about it. I don't know if it's the dispatch. I don't know if it's in the new computer system or whatever what's going on. But it's a mess. It really is. And July 10th, I had an 8:15 appointment at an office that opened at 8 o'clock. Okay, the bus driver picks me up. I have to stand outside and wait 10 minutes for them to open up. And it wasn't their fault that I had to stand there. With them picking me up early, I had to stand there. I'm already disabled. I think for the fact that I had to stand out there for that bit length of time was just totally unnecessary. It really was. Then I kept calling for my ride home. They kept saying, "Well, they're going to send somebody 15 minutes." And I called and I called and I called. I literally, after about an hour and a half, stood there, and I went in there and I talked to the nurse, and I just broke down. I was so fed up by this time. I walked home from the Dodge. I live in Marshall Manor. I had to walk home, waiting, and then while I'm standing there waiting for this bus that was supposed to come to get me, several buses had already rolled down Fayette Street, and I'm like, why didn't this bus come get me? Because the way they have it set up now, they have a computer thing going, and the next driver, whoever is closest to you, will pick you up, and that's my whole issue, and it's to the point where somebody really needs to do something. July 23rd, I had an appointment to see my orthodontist, Dr. Justin Sheep, at 11:30. Okay, I got picked up, and the driver he had to pick up somebody else on the way. That made me late. Many people are so fed up with this system. And I'm just I'm just standing here for myself, complaining, but I'm also going to be a voice for somebody else also. You know, they really need to do something. I don't know. I'm powerless over it. All I know is that I get blessed sometimes and do get rides. Whenever I do have to get on a bus, I instantly get a headache and have anxiety over it because it's so ridiculous. They want to pick you up an hour earlier, and then they want you to wait an hour. There's been times I had to wait an hour and a half, and then the 11-hour wait. They had had me tied up 11 hours of my day taken away by fact, and I didn't get it. It was wasted time that I did, and that's all I'm saying. I'm really just here just on behalf of how that bus situation is run, and for me and other people who need that bus and the operations. I mean, something needs to be done. That's all I'm here to say. Speak on it. If there's any if you guys got something to say or can give me some information or whatever,
I'm not sure.
it's a mess. They should first of all please let me finish this one. Out of all the things that I've mentioned, the most important one and the most one I am totally upset and aggravated with is that one that 11 hours. They made me an hour and 5 minutes late for an appointment that I had. It was a 6-month checkup that I had to get rescheduled, and that was a waste. And then they tied up my time. That's really that's really the biggest issue amongst everything else I wrote down. That's the biggest issue, and I find that first of all, they should never, when they go to Pittsburgh, they should never have 10 people on that bus from all areas of Fayette County taken to all areas in Allegheny County, to all different hospitals, all different checkups, and expect them to be there on time. I mean, that should never happen. Never. And I'm speaking firmly on that. No, I don't have any power but my voice.
We appreciate that.
Thank you for listening, and I'm glad that I could finally speak what I had to say. Thank you.
This is Carl.
We go.
This is Carl.
Thank you.
My name is Phyllis Carr. I'm from Lakeland, Spring Hill Township. What I want to ask you three, on this contract before you sign it, have you ever considered or do you want to do a health impact there at Masontown before you start signing it? Because in my situation, you never give us a health impact. And I'd actually ask Chevron that question. Being that I can't ask him directly. Is he going to do a health impact study before he starts?
I will defer the question, but it's my understanding that Chevron will have to be in compliance with trust
I trusted the DEP too, and you know that. You've been at my site. You know what's going on where I live at. And you know there's very, very bad health issues in our place. And I can't discuss those because I'm wrapped around attorneys. That's correct. They're buddies. They all do the same thing. Correct? Or can you ask him that? Not. Ask him anything you want. 49%. He's in with Williams, 49% in with Williams. So is there going to be I trusted DEP. Nobody did a health impact where I live at. And it took Colorado, Wyoming, 10 years to get sick. It's taken me and my family 6 years to get sick. 9 people has died. My husband was the last. I didn't think my neighbors would die off as fast as they did, but they did. There's 4 of them just where I live, 5 above me, and my husband was the 9th one on the list. Who's going to be the next? Who is? Because yous don't do your job. Before you let any of this stuff in here, why don't you do your homework? I've done mine. I know what it's going to do to my family. The rest of these people don't know what it's going to do to them. But I do. And hope to God my case gets heard in Fayette County. Because they're going to come after yuns as commissioners.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mary Grace Butella, and I just have a few questions to ask you about this leave that you're getting ready to sign today. So yesterday I emailed all 3 commissioners, and I asked if you would please table signing the lease for 4 reasons. 1, no legal notice was placed in the local newspaper in advance of consideration of the lease. The lease was not evaluated by an attorney who specializes in oil and gas. The public has not been given ample time to evaluate and become knowledgeable about oil and gas leases. And the public has not been granted a forum in which to ask questions about how the health, safety, and well-being of the people who will be accessing the park and those who live in the surrounding area, how they'll be protected. I just like to know, what is the rush here? Why can't we not table this for 30 days? Let's have a public meeting and let's discuss this. What is the rush, Commissioner? What's the rush? I mean, 30 days is not gonna hurt anything. Would everyone in here agree we should have a meeting to discuss this? Also, in that lease, it's a generic lease, and I don't see any liability issues in here. I don't see anything in that generic lease that's going to hold harmless the county from any claims, any causes of action for injury, to damage to persons or properties, environmental things, matters. I don't see anything like that. We have to have something in this lease to protect the county from lawsuits. Now, Chevron really doesn't have the greatest track record. We had an explosion in Bobtown. We've had other explosions. It's a dangerous thing. We're talking about a park. We're talking about, I believe there's a ball field there. I've never been there, but I've been told there's a ball field there. There's tennis courts, soccer. First and foremost, we have to protect the public's health, safety, and well-being. So how do we do this? Somehow we have to put this in the lease and hold the county not liable for anything that comes up, because the county can be sued along with Chevron. So I think you guys just need to table it. We just need to take a breath, sit back and think about this, and let's have a meeting, let's discuss it and see what we can put in that lease to make it safer for the people who live there and the people who use this park. I think it's reasonable. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Joe Bizak. I live in Nicholson Township. I've been dealing with gas companies since 2002. 2015. 13 years. I have nothing good to to say about them and their procedures, how they function. I'm going to begin to talk about Phyllis Carr. That pumping station was put there without the proper permits in about 2008. In 2010, I attended a zoning meeting, and it was already built. The contractor was never cited. If I build a garage without a permit, you're in my backyard. The commissioners at that time was Vince Pacitti, Vince Apatoski, and Angela Zimmerman. And Angela, I hold you in the highest esteem. You're the only commissioner we have that's concerned about the public is you. Okay? When they built that thing, you had a lot of complaints. You visited the site, Mr. Zapatowski, and you said in the paper it was a shame. Now you sit there and protect yourself, and this bird here, Mr. Abruzzini, sits there like a bump on the log because he said he wasn't a commissioner at the time. Furthermore, there are people sick up there. The smell is terrible. And they built that thing within 60 feet of my property line. I own 65 acres. How would you like for a pumping station to be 65 feet from your property line? I thought zoning laws were to protect the public, the taxpayer. These people come here and ravage our country. Fayette County being our country where we live. There's environmental issues that you don't even know about. And you sit there and you don't come out and look at them. There's water and air being damaged right in your county. And remember this, if it wasn't for the landowners, there wouldn't be any impact fees. If them landowners like me didn't sign those leases, you wouldn't be here talking about impact fees because they couldn't hang them from the sky. It's a shame that you people don't do that. It's a sin. And you're damaging this country this part of the country for the next 50 years. You don't even know. And you're going to sign an agreement? You have no business signing that agreement. When you run for office, you say you got the taxpayer in mind. You got the people in mind. You do not. Two of you do not. I'm going to go a little further. In January 30th, 2015, I said, Angela, our zoning laws aren't ready for the gas company. In fact, the zoning laws probably were written by the gas company and you approved them. Okay? They're slanted. They're slanted for the gas company. And you know it. You know it. In January 30th, 2015, Angela Zimlick was kind enough to tell me how the citizens can change zoning laws. I got a group of citizens and collected $400 and filed the fee in your zoning office. Filed the proper papers in your zoning office, being a law-abiding citizen. A taxpayer, a citizen, a concerned citizen about the environment. You know what the meaning concern means? When you're concerned about the people of Fayette County and you sign the damn lease and nobody knows about it, transparency is the secret to your success. You guys have floundered. Now, 2012, we go to the zoning, 2015 in January. We filed this document, cost us $400, ladies and gentlemen, to file as a private citizen to update the zoning laws. Okay? Gave all three commissioners a copy. Went to the zoning board. The zoning board threw it back to commissioners. They were to have a town meeting. That's 8 months ago. 8 months ago. Neither one of those two birds have called me. Neither one of them. The only commissioner we have is wearing a skirt up there. Okay? The only commissioner. I don't care what you have to say.
Did you not come to my office and discuss the proposed amendments of the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Okay, well then, I did talk.
Yeah, but did you do anything about it? Where's the zoning meeting, Vince? Where's the zoning meeting? It's 8 months. You're the one that tabled it. You and Mr. Sarah told me you and Abruzzini tabled the zoning meeting. Yeah, because of 2012. You people have to be ashamed of yourself. Both of you. Not just one, both of you.
the record, that is my uncle, so thus I would be inclined to recuse myself from the adjudication of any formal petition filed by or connected to Mr. Bezak.
My attorney says he has, being my nephew, my attorney says he could vote for it if he wanted to. He just hiding. He lies all the time. He continues to lie.
Excuse me.
Please.
I think Angela asked me to wait for a second. One thing that I do want to say for clarification is that
Support the gas company, don't come to me.
Mr. Bezak, can you hold on 1 second, please? Okay, just for clarification purposes here. Mr. Bezak did file an amendment with suggested language, as he said. It was at the zoning hearing board. The zoning hearing board did send it back to, I'm sorry, planning commission and zoning hearing board, and did send it back to the commissioners, and 2 of the 3 commissioners instructed Sarah Rochak to review the matter before taking any action. Those 2 were Commissioner Ambrosini and Savage. What should be done is the next procedure, not just to tell the director, take a look at it and get back to us. I want to make sure that it's clear that it was presented and that it was directed by 2 or 3 to send it for a review on the department head, which should not happen in that fashion.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Donna Holdorf, National Road Heritage Corridor Executive Director, also a partner with Fayette County in the development and construction of the Sheepskin Trail, and the lead partner on the Mon Rivertown program, which affects Brownsville and Point Marion and Fayette County currently. I do not want to comment on the oil lease. I have no experience with that kind of law, or any other for that matter. And I'm here purely to congratulate the commissioners on the opportunity to consider allocating legacy fund to maintain, sustain, improve, and add to the county parks and hopefully the construction of the Sheepskin Trail. No matter how this lease goes forward, or as you move into the future with opportunities to create revenue, making a commitment to your recreational assets within this county helps everyone in this room, because recreation is an important part of health and wellness. It's an important part of the tourism product in Fayette County. Fayette County has some of the most amazing jewels and some of the most amazing attractions in southwestern Pennsylvania that bring tourism dollars to Fayette County. It's an important part of the economy of this county. So I congratulate you on looking forward at the opportunity to create funding to do the very thing that needs to be done. All of us know that our county parks need help, and they need maintenance. They need to be improved. We could use more county parks. Certainly, it can be shown by the record of the Great Allegheny Passage that the Sheepskin Trail has a great opportunity to make a significant impact on many communities along that trail. So that's just, I want to make just a couple of comments about that today. The DCNR's current PA outdoor plan, its priorities are health and wellness, local parks and recreation, and tourism and economic development. And building a strong foundation for recreation in Fayette County only adds to its rich history and heritage and opportunity to create jobs. DCNR reports that dollars spent by outdoor recreation enthusiasts accounted for 1/3 of the total spending for everyone who traveled to Pennsylvania for leisure. Why shouldn't Fayette County benefit from visitors who come here? $21.5 billion is spent annually in consumer spending, supporting 219,000 jobs and generating $1.6 billion in tax revenue across the Commonwealth. Why shouldn't Fayette County have a share in that opportunity? Nationally, the active outdoor recreation employs 5 times more Americans than Walmart, the largest employer in the world. $8 billion industry and 6.5 million jobs come from outdoor recreation. Are we there yet in Fayette County to create new job opportunities? We're getting there. There's great opportunity along the Gap that's impacted places like Connellsville and Ohio Pile. We certainly are seeing a change in Point Marion with the Sheepskin Trail and in Dunbar. In Dunbar, in June, right? We had 285 sojourners come from all over the United States, Hawaii and Alaska included, and ride the Sheepskin Trail and the Great Allegheny Passage. They were enthralled with what they saw in that little tiny borough. They were planning on coming back. Some of them sent money and donations to the library. They couldn't believe how generous and kind our Fayette County residents were to them. And they are talking and cannot wait to come back. Those are important things. A commitment of this kind of funding will create, improve, sustain quality recreation facilities in Fayette County. It means a higher quality of life for every Fayette County resident. It gives Fayette County a competitive advantage when it works to attract new businesses and new companies, because as a former IDC employee, I learned that location consultants, when they're looking for a place for their client to locate their business, they want to know two things: schools and amenities. And the amenities are significantly tied to recreation, because those are the things they want their future employees to know that they'll have opportunities for. And lastly, it'll enhance our current growing tourism economic impact on the county. So those are my comments. I also, the Trail Town program was here and wanted to make comments, but unfortunately had to leave for another meeting. I have their testimony. It's up to the pleasure of this body whether or not I read it into your record or I hand it to the clerk to be entered. I'll hand it to the clerk. I also have handouts. Thank you so much for your time.
Donna,
Yes, ma'am.
So summing this all up in maybe one sentence.
That's hard for me, Angela.
You are supporting the fact that you believe that later on in this meeting there will be a resolution that states that any monies that are derived from a possible Chevron lease agreement will set into a fund to help fund in future capital improvements in the Sheepskin Trail and the county parks because it's non-taxable.
Yes, ma'am.
Placing money towards the Sheepskin Trail and the county parks for a number of years through our general fund. When the Marcellus Shell impact fee came to us in 2012, they have the separate fund for the legacy, which I have been very clearly an advocate of setting those funds aside for only those particular purposes, as well as for our county parks and Sheepskin Trail. I have sat through numerous budget meetings, oftentimes by myself, at times with at least one other commissioner, not only in this administration, but in prior administrations, and we have set monies aside for the Sheepskin Trail and the county parks. So I want to just make it clear that this isn't something new that all of a sudden, commissioners are interested in preserving our county parks and our Sheepskin Trail, because we would have never gotten as far as we have with the Sheepskin Trail in prior administrations as well as the current one, had it not been for county matching dollars through our general fund. And also, as far as anyone now concerned and says, let's get these county parks taken care of, a couple of years ago, I wanted to start this department and with our employees. And instead of doing so, it was passed that a county park board be comprised and have meetings. I believe you're a member of that as well.
No, I was a member of the committee that helped write the
Parks
plan,
plan.
but
In
nothing
addition-
after that.
Okay, in addition to that, your name was mentioned at a meeting that you would be a good person to be placed on this board. As a matter of fact, 2 months ago, Commissioner Zavitowski brought that up again at another
Well, I'm not,
discussion.
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, so that you know that
I work on a daily basis to try and build the Sheepskin Trail, and I'm not aware of any funds that are sitting and waiting for me to be able to use to build that trail. We've just worked with the county, and we did get a grant from the DCNR. I'm matching that. I'm matching that money with private funds. I'm not aware that you have county match. So it would be good if someone told me how much money is in that account, because we're now working with South Union and they're going to build their own section of trail and find their own match. So I still embrace the fact that you are looking at other ways to increase that fund beyond the impact fee with any kind of revenues that this county can generate in any way. Obviously, the lease is a separate issue and certainly not something that's in my purview. Thank you.
This is a unique opportunity.
One other thing, the proposed resolution for the funding is that from the monies that are derived from the Chevron lease, which is $188,000 plus the 15% royalty, the proposal is 1/3 of that to be put towards the Sheepskin Trail and 2/3 for the Fayette County Parks. That was a discussion through an email with Gino Gallo and the other two commissioners, and sent down to the county solicitor, and I was talking on that. They would like to have a resolution that takes 1/3 for the Sheepskin Trail and then 2/3 for the county.
Hi, I'm Annie Quinn from Jacobs Creek Watershed Association. We're in the north of the county. Our river runs from Donegal over to the Occoquan. We're kind of the border of Westmoreland County and Fayette County. I'm coming to speak not on behalf of either side of the drilling lease. That is not my discussion as a non-resident of Fayette County. That is between the commissioners and the public. However, I am here, similar to the executive director of the Sheepskin Trail, in support of the resolution that the money goes towards parks. Jacobs Creek Watershed Association includes into its boundaries Green Lake, Jacobs Creek Park, whatever you want to call it. That dam is beautiful. It's as beautiful as any of the actual state parks here in the state. Jacobs Creek Watershed Association is a nonprofit with status, which means we apply for grants regularly. In fact, we have a large amount of funding available to us as a 319 organization, which means that we have federal funding to use and develop stormwater management, green infrastructure updates, as well as things that would benefit that park. My organization is primed to use the ability of this funding combined with the funding I receive from other sources to make that park as beautiful as possible. We have big dreams. We could do a path around the entire park. We can connect it to the Cole and Coke Trail. We have the ability to make that park an outstanding area in our community. And unfortunately, right now, it's not representative of that. Speaking with the Fish and Boat Commission, as well as my organization, that park is unfortunately not a place that is family friendly, nor is it a place which people bring their families. As the result of the activity, both illicit and controversial that occurs there, the bathrooms are disgusting. We had our members picnic there on Saturday of this last weekend, and we had to have people use the woods as opposed to use the bathrooms. That park can be everything this county deserves. That park can be everything the Jacobs Creek Watershed wants. We want it to be an area of recreation, of beauty, and of use. And I believe that this resolution, along with the funding
would be a wonderful opportunity for us to continue investing in our parks. Jacobs Creek Watershed also appreciates the idea that Green Lake Run, which is the creek that flows into that lake, is a high-quality trout fishery. So by preserving the lake, we're preserving a high-quality stream. And that's a priority for all of the members of the federal government and state governments that I work with, as well as the Fishermen's Association, as well as all of the people in this county that want to use it and benefit from it. And that's what I have to speak on behalf of. Thank you for listening.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Heather Fowler, and this is Terry Springer, and I'm a member of the Fayette County Conservation District. I want to take a few moments to thank you for letting us talk this morning to express our support for the resolution to increase funding for our county parks. The Conservation District understands that the commissioners are considering this idea of allowing drilling under the park and is considering the idea of using the required funds to do improvements at all the county parks and our trails. With regards to gas drilling, our office has no involvement whatsoever in the industry's regulation, and the Conservation District neither supports nor discourages development of any kind within the county as long as it's according to all existing regulations and with all appropriate environmental permitting. That being said, if the commissioners decide to allow this drilling, we fully support the placement of any funds that we can into an account which will support the growth and long-term sustainability of our county parks and trails. Both Perry and I have the pleasure with some of the other members in this room of serving on the Fayette County Parks and Improvement Committee. We've been working hard over the past year submitting many grants and starting fledgling projects to improve and enhance our parks. Any dollars that would be set aside could easily be used to these grants to leverage additional funds to allow for improvements, including the restrooms. Terry and I started a fishing line recycling program at the parks, and you may have seen the tubes that are up in the parks. Those are to gather and properly discard the fishing line to prevent any damage to wildlife or property, and include educational signage. Some of the other programs we hope to enact in the park, if funding becomes available through grants or through a program like this, would be requiring buffers, pollinator gardens, things like that along the lines, just to improve this county's residents' access to nature. So we feel that investment in our local parks and trails through a dedicated funding source of any kind is a source of positive investment for the quality of life of Fayette County residents.
Hi, my name is Patrick Kelly. I'm from Point Marion Borough. I had two issues I wanted to speak about. The first, the oil and gas lease that is being considered, and second, the resolution that is being considered. The oil and gas lease you have before you does not represent the best that Chevron has to offer. If you go over into the recorder's office, 60 feet away from your office, I believe, Grantee, Atlas, or Chevron, you'll find that they have made quite a few concessions that aren't in here. I believe would benefit the county greatly. The first of which is they are willing to accept the severance of the stratas. So you can take Marcellus lease. They have accepted that numerous times. The consideration at $1,500 an acre seems to be more or less fair. It's in line with what's in the record room. Let's see, going on to the next point, an automatic renewal. They are willing to take leases that do not include an automatic renewal. This would be in your benefit. Helps them, incentivize them to speed up their drilling if they want. Renewal will allow them to kind of drag their feet. And going down the list here, the right of first refusal is something that they're willing to waive. That gives them the exclusive right to make the first attempt at bid. I don't know how important that is to you, but it is once again something that they come out and get in on as a point. The 15%, it is a reasonable offer. Once again, they have acquiesced as far as the fees they're willing to take out. You can actually, I'm not 100% sure as to the amount, but you can negotiate to get a flat percentage so that the fees that are coming out on the end, back end, the taxes, or whatever not, you can negotiate for a flat rate out of there. It has been done in this county, and an oil and gas attorney, well, person is, know that. And the last item on the lease is the commencement of operations as opposed to what they call it, spud date, where the well actually, where the drill bit actually hits the ground. That right here, they can say that they're holding it by surveying, permitting, and other methods. This is all after the 10 years has elapsed. They can keep on dragging their feet because of the language in this particular lease. What you can choose to do is have a what they call a spud date. And I'm not 100% sure that Chevron has acquiesced or their predecessor entitled has acquiesced to spud date being the date at which the lease is get through. But it is common in the industry, and I think that some of these items should be at least revisited. I'll leave all the environmental issues aside. It seems like everyone else addressed those in numerous points, and it's not my specialty. I have certain concerns about the oil and gas industry and some of their wastewater disposal methods and some other things on that line, but I believe most people here have addressed that pretty thoroughly. Should the county choose to continue to go forward with a lease, I would like to heavily support the resolution that states that the monies from this lease are to go to the county parks and to the Sheepskin Trail. If nothing else, it's an appropriate source of funding. If the money's coming from the parks, it should go back to the parks and recreation. Thank you very much for your time.
Rod Shaner. I am chairman of the Dunlap Lake Stalking Committee. For our efforts, we have for many years been stalking fish at Dunlap Creek Lake, primarily trout for many years, which through our stalking efforts, we, I believe, have attracted and drawn a lot of visitors from out of this area to the county also. We have loads of fishermen which come to the lake every year from Washington, Allegheny County, Greene County, West Virginia. It is, as in my, when I was working, I wrote many times that Dunlap Creek Lake was Fayette County's best kept secret. And I still believe that. And myself and several members of our committee are here today not to discuss the pros and cons of this drilling. We are here to support the resolution that the funds from this project be used to enhance recreation in the county in the form of Sheepskin Trail and improvements at our county parks. We, through our limited resources, have worked diligently to improve the fishery at Dunlap Creek Lake, but there are other issues there which have to be addressed, other capital improvements, mainly the restrooms, which someone else discussed at Jacob Creek Park, are deplorable condition, and also such things as play areas for children, which are very antiquated. These two areas need to be addressed immediately. Whether the county obtains funds through this gas drilling or some other area, these are two areas of our county parks which we need to address. Like say the restrooms and family facilities. These can be great family areas, but right now they are not very attractive with these two bad conditions. All I want to say is these improvements are needed for the residents of this county. They not only need these improvements, but I believe they deserve them. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Al Packin, and I've been with the Dunlap Co-op Committee for the past 25 years at least. I stepped down as chairman last year for personal reasons. But anyway, I feel very competent to discuss the importance of all the parks, not just on the park, all the parks and the Sheepskin Trail. Okay. If any of you read the paper, approximately 7 or 8 months ago, there were articles about how counties can grow in population. What attracts people to counties? They mentioned several factors. One factor was creation of suitable parks for incoming people. Washington County is a very fast-growing county, as all of you know. They have a lot of things going for them. They mentioned in this article that their parks are a key factor in attracting people to live in Washington County. This I have professed for years and years and years. I live at the lake. I've been there since 1975. I have worked with all these people. I have met all these people who visit Dunlap Lake Park. I am more well versed on regarding Dunlap Lake than any of the other parks. However, I have been to the other parks. I've gone there to see what their conditions are like. I've gone to see what they're doing that maybe might help our park. Okay, so I feel confident to say that, and I really am proud of these commissioners wanting to try to direct funds to the parks and Sheepskin Trail. We get thousands of people who come to our park. I was on the committee which formulated the last long-range plan for the county's parks and recreation. And as this gentleman had mentioned, it was about, I forget how many years ago, at least 10 years ago, I'd say, something in that area. But anyway, it was mentioned that there were various things which the county would look at, and then they would attempt to implement many of the suggestions and recommendations which came about as a result of this plan. I don't want to get into that. I'll be here for hours. I just want to sum this up. I know it's been a long meeting. I want to get to the crux of the matter and end this. But anyway, people don't realize, and I know our commissioners are very busy with a lot of tasks, and certainly they are under a great deal of pressure. It's probably pretty obvious. I don't come to these meetings all the time, okay? And it's great that you have the opportunity to speak. But you know, someone mentioned protocol in dealing with business matters. They mentioned protocol as related to the gas industry and what they're doing. But we also, as human beings, have protocol concerning our behavior at meetings as well. Okay, keep that in mind, please. Now, the next thing I'm going to move on, and I'm going to say this, that I appreciate the county's intentions of trying to direct funding for these three parks and Sheepskin Trail. Mr. Shaner mentioned the poor condition of various things. Yes, and it's prevailing in all of our parks. And if we can get these things going, believe it or not, we can attract more people to move into Fayette County, and we would have a more well diversified type of population in Fayette County. Variety is good, no matter what it is. Variety is good with people coming from other areas with other ideas. You get fresh ideas from these people. And all of you who've gone to various places, I think you've looked at their parks, you've looked at all the facilities that are there, and you can see the differences. And many of them are good and many of them aren't. But take the good and try to use those to better our county. And work together with our officials and try to get these things done. So I appreciate what you're trying to do. I thank you very much on behalf of the thousands of people who come not only from Fayette County to these parks, but who come from Washington County, Greene County, West Virginia, Ohio. They have come to these parks. And they love the parks. However, the one comment is this: what is wrong with the restrooms? What is wrong with the pavilions? Why don't we have power in these? Many things, okay? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. I know where you're coming from on that. Okay. I realize that, but keep in mind, the money has been minimal. I have witnessed it firsthand, okay? There has not been enough money to make them.
You're right, and that is
right.
why we have increased.
say this, that the county is doing a better job, particularly regarding the maintenance of the park. Grass cutting and weed whacking has been tremendous. Even people from other areas will comment on the improvements at the lake. But gee whiz, the structures are falling apart. The boat docks are getting bad again. Okay? The restrooms, number one priority. We need restrooms, as Rod Changer said. They have been condemned. They're boarded up now. Thank God the county has rescued us from that by putting porta-johns at the parks. Okay? Right. Right, right. That has happened. But we still appreciate the fact that they were placed out there at the park. But they have to have a place to go. I don't want to get that other people's talking about this. I appreciate that.
But we buy a lot of bait from back.
I appreciate that.
I want to thank you for your efforts.
Yeah. And someone had mentioned earlier that what does this money going to the parks have to do for the economy? Everything. Everything. Because people come into Fayette County to go to the parks and they spend money in Fayette County. It is a draw. Believe you me, it is a draw. Okay, listen, it's been a long meeting. I'm going to leave. Listen, thank you very, very much for hearing me out and all the other people. And I appreciate it. It's a tough job all three of you have. It really is. And God help Fayette County to become better. Thank you.
I realize this is not an agenda item, but I'm asking for 5 minutes. For 2 hours, you don't even start your business section. And so, if it's okay, first, I'd like to thank Commissioner Zachary and Kathy for coming to look at the situation at home in Brownsville. I went away in July. There were severe storms. They felled additional trees onto that church lot. They ripped out the service line leading to my home. I now have a hole in my house, and West Penn's repaired the service line, but I have to repair the hole. And there is a solution. Whether you want to keep the church boarded up like all the other buildings in Brownsville, or whether you want to tear it down, I don't care. All I know is the lot below my home and that wall is serious damage every time I turn around. And I have pictures of the storm damage that I have to look at. There's a cost-efficient way to repair that wall below my home. I'm asking for the county to do something, or order the redevelopment, order Brownsville, do something to get control. They kind of sold a lot to the church, get it fixed, so my home is on the National Trust, doesn't go over the bill. If you even want, in fact, my one neighbor called the redevelopment, called Andrew, left a message. He offered that he would salvage everything out of that church if the redevelopment would take that money, that is, there's still money left in Brownsville, they would take control of the property, and he would salvage it for 15% commission. We were already told what kind of bell is up there. I looked online, the bell alone is being sold for $16,000 to $18,000. So there is salvageable material there. I don't care. I'd like to see the whole thing. It's a gateway to the downtown. Brownsville's putting $40 million into their area, and their gateway from Market Street has this church that's falling down. It's going to fall on Market and destroy my home. So, my name's Connie Gore. Thank you for listening to me. Here is new